to that club in their starting 7. They've come off the back of a win in their state league. And Delaney, I think, and Cobb, a breath of fresh air to open court for South Australia, just creates a difference, and I think it gives them the opportunity to play without that huge thing hanging over them that they've lost in finals before. Those two know nothing about that. They weren't part of it, so they're fresh and they're willing.
Well, let's look at the lineups for the final then, and the defending champions first of all. Eloise Southby's 89% yesterday guaranteed her start at goal shooter, and her partner is Danny Arnott, but Jocelyn Bryant could get a run later. Australian under-21 skipper Sue Howie is wing attack, and it just gets better. Shelley O'Donnell at centre, Simone McInnes wing defence, and Liz Taverner and Janine Lynch are all in the Australian team. They must be a joy to coach for Lisa Alexander. Well, Jenny Borlase is the SA captain. There's plenty of youth in this side. Delaney and Cobb both 21, and Peter Squire at wing defence just 20. Rebecca Sanders should match Shelley O'Donnell for pace, while at the back Kath Harvey and Sarah Sutter will be conspiring to choke off the opportunities for Southby, and both are in excellent form. Julie Franco is coach. A happy Simone McInnes and Shelley O'Donnell, long-time Victorian and Australian teammates. And we're ready for the court introductions.
Netball title sponsored by Qantas Flying Netball around Australia, and it's between Victoria and South Australia. It's very, very exciting out there. I hope you're all excited out there. Are we excited here in Perth? You sound as though you are. Let's introduce you to Victoria. They can win 2, the under-21s and the Opens. Hasn't been 10 years. Let's introduce you now to the Victorian team. Goal shooter, Eloise Southby. At goal attack, Danny Arnott. Wing attack, Susan Howie. In the centre, Shelley O'Donnell. The wing defence and captain, Simone McInnes. Goal defence, Liz Taverner. And goalkeeper, Janine Lynch. The substitutes for Victoria, Wendy Allen, Jocelyn Bryant, Diana Croato, Narelle Garbutt and Peter Kennedy. The coach, Lisa Alexander. Manager, Kate Palmer. Gayleen McKay is physio, and apprentice coach, Robin Dawson. Now we'll turn to South Australia. Playing goal shooter and captain, Jennifer Borlase. Goal attack, Jackie Delaney. Wing attack, Ordine Cobb. In the centre, Rebecca Sanders. Wing defence, Peter Squire. Goal defence, Catherine Harvey. Goalkeeper, Sarah Sutter. The substitutes for South Australia, Natalie Avellino, Danielle Grant, Trudy Henderson, Jane Branford and Marissa Romeo. The coach, Julie Franco, Lynn Davey, the manager, and Shiley Davidson, the physio. The umpires for this game, Maureen Boyle and Nola Kalman. Who's going for the Vicks out there?
Well, they've got the two best umpires in the minds of many, Maureen Boyle and Nola Kalman. And a sense of deja vu for these teams who met last year in the final. And we're standing by for the national anthem to be sung by Samantha Podu.
What a beautiful voice.
certainly is. I'm sure she's part of a trio that opened national championships here in Perth. But stunning voice, appropriate for what will be a stunning game.
Well, I think we can say that with a fair amount of confidence. And it'll be Rebecca Sanders for South Australia to get us going. Maureen Boyle working the far side, Nola Calnan on this side. And South Australia in the red.
Advantage obstruction, wing attack.
And an easy first grab for Liz Taverner with a misunderstanding in the South Australian attack. Howie bounces one for McInnes. What are the key matchups for you, Anne?
Oh, look.
They're everywhere, aren't they?
They're everywhere. You've just got to have eyes in the back of your head. I'm really looking forward to the ability of Sutter and Harvey to shut down Southby. I think that's crucial to overcome Victoria. She's quite a key. She's been their target shooter and steady as a rock, so they really need to shut down opportunities there.
So Victoria convert the first turnover. And looking for a 2-goal early advantage here. Southby feeds it off for O'Donnell. Well, that was the intention. And it'll be O'Donnell to bring it in. And we say goodbye to Tasmanian viewers who unfortunately have to leave us at the moment. I'm sure the result will filter through to you later in the day.
There's some defensive pressure out on this court already. No pardon me's. Just some torrid work over the ball and blocking the body.
Southby. Delaney.
Steve, it's a pressure game for Delaney. We've seen her put out some fine matches during the rounds. One in which she looked like she was fading was against Victoria, and of course that match went into extra time. And just before half-time, it looked like Avellino might replace her, but she was left on, started to come through and really finished strongly. This is another ball game. It's a final, and she's a young player. Big raps, much rests on her ability to play it out.
We saw a little while ago in the highlights of last month's semi-final. Avellino did have a quarter against New South Wales. She shot 9 from 11. So she's in pretty good form if they need to use her. I'm sure she won't disappoint. It's Arnott, though, for Victoria. 2-1 the score to the Vicks.
Well, that was held up for nearly 3 seconds, and Squire had a look at it, decided against it.
Southby shot 47 from 53 against Queensland. 89%. Oh, collision nearly between McInnes and Arnott.
I think we'll see a lot of congestion through the midline of the court because you have two defence lines very willing and having a go driving onto the ball hard, and with both of them coming at loose balls.
That's an interesting little thing I saw there between Harvey and Sutter. Harvey was actually supporting Sutter as she was leaning forward.
I've seen a lot really at this level when a player's at full stretch, the other defender, if she has the chance, will just tug on a uniform or hold a leg to keep them in a solid position.
Cobb. Delaney.
Have to bear in mind, South Australia were well down against Victoria when they met in the rounds and recovered beautifully to go on, force the draw and win in extra time. So a slow start won't bother them.
Maureen Boyle in back play just dropped the whistle. South Australia dropped one through. Ball A's.
South Australia.
Harvey. Cobb.
Contact wing defence.
Contact against McInnes.
Pass or shot. Keeper. There.
Lynch and Taverner in defence for Victoria really do look alike again today, as they always do. About the same height, build, dark hair.
Quite obviously, Steve, many of the players on court vying for positions in the national squad, and
You just hope the selectors are watching the right one when they make a little note in the book.
I was just considering it may well be Harvey and Sutter fighting it out for a spot.
Contact goal attack.
Sutter dropped out of the national squad, of course, but has been in pretty good form this week.
Yeah, she answered the dismissal from the team well, though, in the President's 12 series, where she captained the side and really played some great netball.
Delaney.
Of course, Taverner and Lynch can't be denied. They're extremely talented young players, and Lynch in for the first time this year. Lizzie Ellis from New South Wales, another key defender. And then you have Sutter and Harvey, teammates and clubmates, almost working against each other, at the moment with each other.
Southby.
That was fine defence from Sutter over that shot, but she couldn't deny Southby, who's open with 5 shots, no misses.
Sutter was just looking at umpire Nola Calnan as she ran back to the centre of the court, just wondering perhaps if after the 3-second call, yeah.
I think that was the case. She held, she jumped, she then blocked the shot, really used up the time.
What have I got to do, ump? Bourlays. McInnes to Taverner.
Shooter, contact.
Contact against Bourlays. I don't think there's too much doubt about that. Taverner counting her fingers. O'Donnell.
Found his construction centre.
Arnott straight to Southby. Southby wants Howie. Howie again. Arnott's going to shoot. No, she's not. Well, she likes to give the majority of the shooting to Southby, who's so accurate. A little taller.
Good hands here from Danny Arnott. Then she steadies herself, has good vision as well as the post. She connects with Southby. Started doing what she could to get in the way, literally.
7-4 Victoria. 6.5 minutes gone.
And that's the 3 seconds South Australia have been looking for. That's great defensive work at the start of the game from Sutter, Harvey and Squire.
Contact goal attack.
Call against Arnott.
On court.
Early penalties pretty even. 7 against Victoria, 6 South Australia.
Goal defence, sharp. South
And
Australia.
Steve, by
goal
contrast to the 21 game, not one ball being thrown on court that's not contested all the way by a defender. I mean, Delaney just wore Taverner for the entire lead then.
South Australia.
Well, Delaney making the most of defensive lack of numbers there, courtesy of the penalty. Bourlays.
Centre.
Delaney 3 for no misses. Bourlays 2 shots for 1 miss.
Yes.
Cobb picks it up. Delaney. It's over the top of the defence, but it's pretty hard defence to shoot over. Taverner and Lynch. Howie. Arnott. Touch from Squire.
What a
Delaney picks up.
reaction. She'd had her head back trying to see what the pattern of play was behind her, and she really did well to get that reaction out.
And good to see Delaney working so far up the court in support. Listen there for all goal attacks, I'm sure.
Oh, whipped in by Arnott.
Southby, long-range shot. Oh, sweet though.
7 for nil. No misses on the board for Southby, and I think that one was worth a couple.
McInnes went for it. Sanders has it. Delaney.
Goalkeeper forcing.
It's a bit like being at
South
football and watching the
Australia
first grade come out and thinking, gosh, they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger.
Someone was suggesting there wasn't much of a difference in scale between under
well,
21s
I'm so
and
glad
opens
you
up.
raised that, because someone next to you was just going to ask it, and I was thinking, was it rude to say, look, let's be serious here, there's a big difference, but the 21s are working towards it.
Harvey. Cobb to Delaney. Plenty of fast movement out there.
Contact. Goal
I think
defender.
that's technically called a Bourlays sandwich.
Well,
Back further.
Bourlays is going to have the opportunity to shoot though. And they draw level after 9 minutes of play in the final.
Good deception from Delaney then. She looked wide to Cobb, but knew that Bourlays was well placed at the top of the circle.
Finds Delaney well, and Delaney finds the goal.
Squire and Howie match up as wing defence and wing attack to the right of screen. both members of the World Youth Cup team, so they'll know each other's play quite well. Teammates for Australia 1 minute, foes the next.
I guess national selectors might pretty much have their minds made up about players for national squads. But here in this match, when players are playing under pressure, they really want to see how they respond to this situation. If we, say, talk up Delaney's chances, as we see her on screen now, if she were to, selectors really want to see how she performs in a match of this importance.
Years ago, when they were naming the top 10 of tournament and a pure Australian team, it was more important. They really looked, as we just look at Southby's brilliant opening, and she's just taken that to 9 for no misses. Performance in the final was all important, and it could well swing people in and 4 or 5 out. Nowadays, though, that we announce a squad, we then have weekends that allow them to work with other players in combination across the state boundaries. That gives a bit of a buffer for that type of player. But it used to be more cutthroat. You could literally see, pens running through names and adding names at the last minute, even to the last 5 minutes of the game.
South Australia in front, 11-10. 4 minutes left, first quarter. Howie. Arnott wins the contest with Harvey.
That was a beautifully placed ball by Susan Howie, judged perfection over Kath Harvey.
Cobb, so quick. Oh, Delaney takes a fall over Taverner. Let's have a look at Delaney's tumble here.
Well, Taverner really setting her up for the fall. She had the drive to the circle, and Taverner just shutting down the space on her.
Wasn't going to move the leg, was she?
No, I think that's pretty well setting up a collision.
Harvey, and South Australia just nudge in front after Victoria made the bright start. Obstruction against Howie. Harvey knew it was coming. Lynch causes the contact there. And ball lays to put South Australia 2 ahead.
Steve, the penalty count working 2-1 against Victoria. They've had 15 against for South Australia's 7, and 9 of them have been against their circle defenders.
Oh, great ball placed for ball lay's advantage.
Took net. Took chain.
Well, this is a telling last section of the first quarter for South Australia. Well, still 2.5 minutes to go. Victoria can do something about it. Won't drop. Sutter needs help. Squire. Oh, Sanders, great take.
Ring attack contact.
Ball ace Delaney. Nice move along the base from Borlase. What a shoot from there.
Looking for a 10th goal in this first quarter. She's on 9 goals for 1 miss. Brings it up.
Well, I guess we should add that, that there was a miss there, but there was a penalty on it, so it doesn't stand as a miss.
If the shot miss was caused by an infringement, then it doesn't go down as a miss on the stat sheet. The statistician pauses and waits to see what happens as an outcome of the taking of the penalty pass or shot, as ours did.
Delaney will take that gratefully. And a smile from Delaney.
A bit worried. I think Delaney's actually enjoying this as we look at her stats, and why not? 6 from 7 for Delaney. South Australia's goal attack at 85%. Borlase is in fine form with 10 from 11. Just as good on the other side, 2 from 2 for Daniata, but not in the game as much. It's been all Southby at 90.
Yeah, Southby's just missed another one, but they've only missed 4 for the whole quarter. All 4 shooters.
I was about to say that earlier when Borlase missed one. We're so used to seeing them score it. It's almost glaring when there is a miss. Not many unforced errors in this match. Fatigue may take its toll later on, but for the moment, lots of passion, lots of skill.
Well, it was a great leap from Borlase there. I thought that ball was heading out of court, but Borlase up for it well. In best South Australian Aussie rules tradition.
A tough decision for Lisa Alexander. Does she rejig the lineup, or does she allow them to keep playing and try and lift the game? That's quite a margin going to the first quarter break.
Absolutely, I'm surprised. It's the gun start from South Australia. Don't they badly want this title? Haven't won it since the mid-80s. Timekeeper's up, and South Australia will be doing their absolute best to deny Victoria. And another second or two lost. They better be quick. Oh, Southby tried to get one away quickly. It wouldn't have counted anyway. What a first quarter from South Australia. They were trailing early, but very much in control of it now, and a surprising scoreline, really. South Australia 18, leading the defending champions 11. Well, and you mentioned there must be changes, at least in the mind of Lisa Alexander, even if she doesn't make them straight away. But is the problem so much... Actually, we're just watching now the bibs swapping between Taverner and Lynch, but what about at the other end? Is Southby and Arnott just not getting enough opportunities anyway? Would you change those two?
No, I think they're better served when they have Arnott delivering onto Southby. The option there would be to bring Bryant into the game.
Right of screen there.
Yeah, we just see the back of Bryant, tall, lean shooter, who's a very accurate shooter, but obviously they've gone with the Melbourne Puma combination that is so natural to them, of Arnott onto Southby. I suspect they might give it time to get back into this match. Well,
Julie Franco's got to be a happy South Australian coach. And Lisa Wilson, what was the key for you in that first quarter for South Australia?
I think the South Australians' determination to get out and have a really good start at the beginning of the match, and they certainly showed that they could match it out there. And we have seen South Australia start a lot of matches over the years very, very well, and it's always a wonder whether they can actually bring it home. I think this year could be a little bit different in that they had that tight game against the Vicks earlier in the week where they actually won in overtime. So I think it's really important for the South Australians to keep pushing through from here.
You've been here for the whole week, Lisa. What do you feel about Jackie Delaney's game? She come on a lot in the last 12 months?
Well, I think from watching her in the finals last year in the 21s, she did a great job there, but she has really stepped up this year, and the experience of playing in the Australian World Youth Cup team has obviously gone well for her, and she's got some great support around her. I mean, having Jenny Borlase to feed onto and work with would be really good for her game.
You're trying to make me cry, Lisa, making reference to that final?
Not at all.
I think Delaney's opened really well. It's not a matter of Borlase being the target. The fact that Delaney's so willing and really putting out well on court and in goals means that they can't afford to concentrate on Borlase. And Julie Franco, she doesn't give much away, but I suspect there's a smile starting to brew in there.
Yeah, definitely. But the other thing too, I think, is that what's the goal attack really moves the ball around more, and so therefore we can't allow them to sort of just set up on one.
Thanks, Lise. Just hurry off court with the players about to recommence.
Players, of course, Steve, need to get themselves on court quickly. 3 times this week they've brought in the rule of not being on court in time, and we've seen teams penalised.
Let's have a look at the penalty stats through the first quarter. As Nola Callan is prepared to bring the match underway again.
Costly toll against Victoria, more than double. And very often we see South Australia with the penalty count high against them, but they're really enjoying the right end of the whistle in this all-important final.
It's Delaney to Borlase. Sanders quickly to Delaney. Sitting just behind us, Amy Stevens, who had to come off in the New South Wales under-21 side. I think it's an Achilles that she's hurt.
Oh, no, well, I definitely feel for her, having done the same thing myself. I thought it was strange that she reacted without anybody near her. We thought perhaps knee for that reason, but Achilles would make sense. She probably felt like somebody kicked her. And she's resting now in her wheelchair, for those of you that saw her leave the match earlier in the 21 final. Not a happy chappie. Karen Miller behind.
She's got a good view of the match, though, as long as we don't stand up.
Get a few words from her later on.
Harvey to Cobb. Delaney, and it's 19-11 South Australia. I really think that South Australia couldn't be more motivated than they are this year. They've been made to wait for so long.
Interesting, too, Julie Franco had last year off. Took a break. She'd coached them the year prior to that, and has been disappointed that they couldn't quite snag the title. Back again this year, and things looking fairly rosy at this stage of the game.
Well, the warning bells are ringing for Victoria. Unbelievable, they trail by 10 early in the second.
Well, I think of all the things that Victoria might have been prepared for and able to work around, this was not one of the scenarios. Good shot there of the use of space in the circle.
Next one.
Arnott, the opportunity to shoot.
Only going for her third attempt of the match. Makes it a third goal, but get a bit rusty between shots. Tell you who's impressive and we haven't said much about is Rebecca Sanders. She has played brilliantly all week, come up against calibre centres in Darwood and O'Donnell and played equal to them.
Delaney.
A swisher, a confident one.
Oh. I can't think of too many other players who look so untroubled and calm on court as Delaney.
You talked about the transition or the difference between 21 court and open, and I think it's quite significant, but Delaney and Cobber and Howie, a few that have made it brilliantly, and Delaney shining in this one.
Harvey pulls in a screamer to set South Australia going forward again. They all want the ball, they're all making moves, and they've got options aplenty, South Australia. It's Borlase on the base. Smart ball out to Sanders. Delaney got to get up and get rid of it. Oh, she's not going to shoot. Didn't really have a chance in that situation.
Steve, we've talked about how hungry the South Australian players must be to earn the national title. I can assure you there's a few old South Australian players at home watching this that would be relishing the fact that the team's back on top. Players who led national honours through the early 80s when South Australia dominated.
Arnott, O'Donnell runs it down and finds Southby somehow.
In the face.
And Southby for number 13.
South Australia.
Great work here from O'Donnell, really using the width of the court to keep the ball alive. In fact, off court and back up from Southby. It's no good all that work being done by O'Donnell in trying to keep it alive if the players on court aren't watching and trying to block space and hold room and back up.
Southby.
Body obstruction, keeper.
Well, it's a rare miss for Southby from that range. But does well to find O'Donnell. Arnott.
South Australia.
Turnovers at this early stage favouring South Australia, and perhaps Victoria not treasuring possession enough, and South Australia squeezing the errors out of them.
And that combined with the intercept count has 4 to South Australia, just the 1 to Victoria, so they really are coming onto the ball well.
Lovely goal from Danny Arnott, 5 straight for her. Not a lot, but she hasn't missed.
Body offside, wing defence. Contact.
Quickly taken by Susan Howie. No need to wait for the offending player to be able to play because she's already beside.
Well, they've got it back to 7 after the lead was 10. And plenty of time left in this second quarter to do something about that deficit. Squire runs it down. Through her hands for Howie. And then contact against Sanders. Victoria looking a bit more urgent about their work. Step though against Southby. Squire to Sanders. Cobb. O'Donnell and Lynch. Sanders wants it back, runs all the way to Borlase. Little settler for South Australia after the run from Victoria. And 24-16 is the score. 8:40 left in the second quarter.
Obstruction, wing defender.
O'Donnell to Arnott.
Good shot of the ball being swung across. The work of the feeders outside the circle enormous in setting up their shooters.
Body straight, wing attack.
Sanders. South Australia just trapped mid-court for the moment.
Wing attack.
national selectors there. Jill McIntosh, Margot Ango, Barcalda.
Marg Angove, I wonder if she can keep her South Australian heart at bay. She'd love to see a victory. She coached them for many years. In fact, there's a whole host of Australian legends here. I saw Norma Plummer earlier. She's as National 21 coach, newly appointed for another 2 years selecting. Joyce Brown was also here as a former national coach and player. And a few New Zealand coaches watching as well. Well, nearly 3 seconds on Howie, and Harvey denies it anyway.
Halfway through second quarter as Cobb sends one on to Delaney. And she applauds the work of Cobb, and they're out to 9 again.
South Australia with plenty of options as they work it round the circle. Delaney has lost nothing as the game's gone on. Nor accuracy, nor athleticism. She's really relishing the opportunity to show off her skills.
O'Donnell to Howie, and Southby mishandles. It's all working pretty nicely for South Australia.
Just 2 penalties against Sarah Sutter. It's quite a phenomenally low stat against a circle defender.
Sanders in the corner. And through the hands of Sanders with a bit of help from O'Donnell. Southby, O'Donnell.
Advantage obstruction wing.
Well, there is the New Zealand coach on the right, Lee Gibbs, and Tracy Fear on the left. Now, Lee Gibbs makes regular visits to Australia to keep an eye on what we're up to. And, of course, Australia to play New Zealand in a one-off test, as you can see, in November.
Oh, Delaney punishing 15 shots for just 2 misses. I'm starting to think Borlase is quiet. Delaney's having such a blinder.
I think maybe Lee Gibbs is writing down Delaney for New Zealand citizenship. What do you...
I don't feel as bad. I had to coach against that kid last year, and it was painful then, and now I don't feel as bad because I see her doing it to great company at open level.
The elbow that's holding, goalkeeper, pass or shot.
Elbow holding against Sutter. A very clear call from Maureen Boyle. It's good that they let the defenders know exactly what they're doing wrong, as if they didn't know, but you know, they may not.
No, sometimes it does need clarification, and certainly Australian umpires skilled in that. Maureen Boyle, I think, would be voted by all the players as their most preferred umpire.
McInnes has it.
South Australia everywhere, Steve, sorry to talk over you, through the mid-court. The pressure from their forward line in the mid-court has just been relentless.
Goal line.
I think you know how Shelley O'Donnell feels now.
4:40 left in the second. And it's still a 9-goal lead. South Australia.
Goal attack in the circle.
It's one against Danny Arnott. Squire free. Sanders cross court to Delaney. Borlase.
Borlase 14 shots, just the 1 miss.
Well, that's what they want. It's all very well to have lots of possession and good effort up the court, but the goalers have got to do it for you. Pull all the parts of your game together and you get very hard to beat.
Well, Victoria has stopped coming flat-footed then. The leads weren't coming onto the ball, and Harvey, adding salt to the wound, is still running hard onto the ball.
Cobb. Back to Delaney. Standing at the centre circle. Covers a lot of territory. Harvey.
Steve, we noted in the first quarter that the penalty count was heavily against Victoria. South Australia starting to come back into the game in that department. They've had 15 against for Victoria's 21. Mind you, they've started to lift the rate in intercepts and turnovers. We were talking earlier on that there were very few intercepts because it was so tough on the ground marking South Australia have come up with 6 and 8 in that area, so really lifting their workload.
South Australia's lead is 12, and there's 3 minutes left until half-time.
Victoria, top of the circle.
Victoria have got a bit of work to do to make my prediction come true, that it could well go into extra time. They've got it all ahead of them. And they just look flat and dejected. Harvey saved the best to last in the championships.
Delaney, oh, and arriving a bit late was Liz Taverner. Well, Delaney got up so quickly, I thought she might have collected an elbow in the face. She did. It wasn't a bad one. She was up first.
Taverner really misjudging, sorry, the line of attack then.
Ball ace. I wonder how Delaney and Taverner came together. Like this.
Long ball here from Cobb. And Taverner just taking the body, just no good vision to the ball.
There's some laughter behind us. Players watching the replay
Some
over
of
our
the
shoulder.
New South Wales Open players are sneaking a look over our shoulders at the monitor. They certainly got the ooh and the ahs out before I could finish talking about line to the ball. They're determined to have a presence in this game, even if they're not playing in it.
I'd like to watch it twice.
Right there.
33-19.
South Australia. Advantage break.
South Australia with a 13-goal lead. It was 7 at quarter time on the back of some great shooting.
Oh, the shooting just fantastic. Borlase with 94% with 16 from 17, and Delaney 17 from 22. Consider too the workload she's doing in defence and in attack down the field.
Delaney shot 18 from 27 in 3 quarters against New South Wales yesterday, 67%.
Steve, Jocelyn Bryant and Peter Kennedy warming up out the back. I suggest it's Bryant that will come on. Although Peter Kennedy is sharing the workload as I have a second look, so perhaps a couple of changes for Victoria.
Well, they've got to do something about this. A 14-goal difference, maybe 13. Southby puts it in here.
South Australia.
Inside the last minute, second quarter. And what a performance by South Australia. Squire, Harvey. There's so much movement from this South Australian lineup that nobody's sort of standing around.
I was about
Everyone
to
wants
say
to
perhaps
offer.
New South Wales doesn't feel quite as bad as they watch South Australia do to Victoria, what they did to New South Wales in the playoffs.
Ball ace to Delaney. Lynch gets up off the floor. O'Donnell to Lynch. Ambitious, but Lynch saw the timekeeper getting up. That's why the risky pass, but there will be no late goal for Victoria. And if they don't turn things around, there'll be no second title for them. What a first half from South Australia as they continue to build their lead. And at half-time, South Australia lead the Vics 34-21.
Join the ABC this summer as we follow Australia's elite athletes in action. First up, the nation's best junior tennis talent takes to the court to fight it out in the Little Masters Tennis Challenge.
It's the biggest tennis tournament in the world. This year we had 30,000 competitors.
Finals action can be seen live on the ABC, Saturday, October 19th. Double faults give way to vaults when the grace, skill and drama of international gymnastics comes to Adelaide in October.
Fantastic routine.
The Australia Cup promises to be a world-class rematch for many of the gymnasts who competed at the Atlanta Olympics. On Saturday, October 19th, the big names of men's and women's gymnastics test their skills in individual competition.
Oh, excellent ball.
The following week, they're back, this time representing their countries in the teams event. It promises to be a close contest, and you can see it all on the ABC, Saturday, October 26th. Then it's from parallel bars to handlebars. We take to the road with some of the world's fittest athletes in the Commonwealth Bank Cycle Classic. For 9 days, 14 international teams will ride 1,156 grueling kilometres, making their way from Manly to the nation's capital, Canberra.
This has been a war of nerve and in many ways a war of attrition as
The
well.
ABC will cover all 15 stages of the Cycle Classic, starting on October 19th and continuing through to the 27th. Then the netballing Trans-Tasman tussle continues when Australia takes on New Zealand in a one-off test in Sydney.
It's about speed of ball out of the hand, and the Australians do it oh so well.
This will be a clash not to miss. Catch all of the excitement here on the ABC, November 16th.
Yes, we're all looking forward to that test match, and South Australia will be looking forward to the second half after a brilliant first half when they dominated just about all facets of players. We have a look at the statistics. And penalties, well, as we mentioned, South Australia starting to catch up there in penalties against, but it was heavily against Victoria early. But 7 intercepts to South Australia, and they're ahead in the turnovers as well, and enjoying a weight of possession there, Anne.
Yeah, the possession is a very telling factor, 41 opportunities to 24. And the penalties and turnovers working just the way Victoria don't want them to, loaded against in the penalties, and the positives not there for them. Just interesting, the breakdown of those penalties. Taverner with 8 penalties against, Lynch, the other Victorian circle defender, with 7 against. So they really are costly for them in the defensive circle.
Well, the body language of the Victorians doesn't look too flash. Lisa Wilson, what can you see in the Victorian bench? Are they going to make some changes?
Yeah, they've made a couple of changes. At the moment, they've changed back Lynch and Taverner, so back to their preferred positions of goal defence and goalkeeper. They've also made the change for the centre court, which I thought they might have been tempted to do at the first break. Shelley O'Donnell's gone to wing attack, and young Suze Howie has come into the centre, which will be really interesting because I think she can really match it with Sanders and maybe just go that little bit harder than what Shelley's been going out there.
So you think Sanders has had the better of Shelley at centre?
Well, if you look at the game and the flow that's going for the South Australians, you'd have to say that. And she seems to be getting the run down the sideline and getting those balls as well, which is really setting up the South Australian attack.
Lisa, it's interesting to see for South Australia that Delaney and Borlase are absolutely sharing shooting responsibilities, 17 apiece.
Yeah, and I think that's making it really hard for the Victorian defenders because they're not sure who to really focus on because they're both sharing it and they're both putting the ball in. You know, it's making it really hard for them to sort of drop back because they play very closely together, trying to help each other out a lot. And the South Australians aren't close enough for them to be able to do that.
It's interesting to see Lynch and Taverner being outplayed. Doesn't happen too often, but it's certainly happening here as the players are invited back onto the court.
Steve, something else I find fascinating, Danny Arnott with just 5 attempts at goal in the first half of the game, yet still on court, no effort to try and change that shooting combination.
Well, Lisa Alexander perhaps feeling the problems are up the court. Jocelyn Bryant did get half a game in the semi-final. Arnott played the first half, Bryant the second. But Arnott is out for the third quarter. Nola Calnan hands the ball to Susie Howie, now wearing the centre bib, and O'Donnell at wing attack. So it'll be O'Donnell on Squire. Arnott has it, Southby.
Hard as it is to imagine, it's not beyond Victoria to reduce this margin. In many national finals, we've seen teams recover from a 13, 14 goal deficit.
Squire gets the long ball from Harvey, who can deliver the long ball on a sixpence. He's quite brilliant at releasing.
Probably doesn't remember what a sixpence is, though.
It's a little coin, a little silverware.
You tell me about that later.
Danger, obstruction, back from the serve. Back where it happened.
You remember the 14th of February, 1966.
Not I.
Borlase.
Advantage offside, centre.
Sanders.
Advantage offside and contact.
Oh, that hurt.
That would absolutely
South
rock you
Australia.
if you're a Victorian.
You see here options shutting down for Borlase, so she goes to the post.
Advantage, force, ball
In
defender.
hindsight, a very wise
Centre
decision.
obstruction.
When you take a risk with confidence rather than anxiety, you tend to get a different result, don't you? One pulled in by Taverner.
For all
So
the
Lynch it was.
positional changes, Steve, it still is that South Australia are the willing of the two, really strong onto the ball, both in defence and in attack.
Another error from Victoria, and Sutter will bring it in from the side for South Australia.
Advantage obstruction, wing.
Delaney, Borlase shouting for it. Oh, lovely 1-2 she works with Cobb. Lynch couldn't do anything about that or that.
South Australia's shooting stats remain to be envied, particularly Borlase with 19 from 20, given the pressure of the match, 95%. Delaney, too, has had both a strong workload, but also good accuracy at 73% with 17 from 23.
O'Donnell pulls in a rare but precious intercept. And 15 is the lead for South Australia. Southby. What was that? That was a turnover. I wonder what the national selectors are making of this performance. Not a bad player out there for South Australia.
Southby and Cox from New South Wales have been names bandied around by the public as possible contenders to move up into the national team. That would mean somebody vacating a space. Morgan from New South Wales, Cusack from New South Wales, Borlase and Vicky Wilson being the 4 shooters in the national side. Jenny Borlase going for her 20th shot, makes good.
South Australia.
3 minutes gone in the third quarter. I don't know what Victoria can do. They're itching to do something about it, but they don't know where to scratch.
Wing defence.
They're yet to score in the third quarter.
Well, that's a 4-0 start to the quarter by the South Australians. O'Donnell finds Southby in good range this time, but she hasn't had an effective shot for a while. Lucky to get the rebound out of the hands of others. And they're on the board. Sanders uses Harvey. And a penalty down court helps South Australia. It's against Lynch.
And the penalty count, Steve, is starting to hurt Victoria again in this third quarter. So somewhat of a pattern under the whistle of Maureen Boyle. There's been a fair bit of attention on the Victorian defenders. They've got 19 against their circle defenders as opposed to 10 on South Australia.
Howie has it for Victoria. They better use it. O'Donnell lost the handle. Contact against Squire. A shoulder pointed to by Nola Calnan. Some South Australians in the crowd didn't like the call. Harvey goes down. Well, in this match, Victoria have made as many mistakes as they've nearly made all week. Got to give a lot of credit to the South Australian defensive effort, and in all thirds.
Absolutely, and I don't mean this without respect, but you've almost forgotten that Michelle Filkey was sitting in that line because it's rallied so well to plug the hole. Squire doing a great job at wing defence, and Harvey and Sutter really coming into their own in this match in particular.
17 the difference now. 5 minutes gone, third quarter. McInnes, body language on Victorians just tells you they're looking and playing like a beaten side at the moment.
By comparison, South Australia the last couple of days have looked like a happy group, really set on their task. A lot of spirit in there.
Well,
and that's something new.
Delaney follows in her own shot with determination. Placed well for Sanders.
Advantage on the ball, centre. Instruction keeper.
Borlase was
Came in.
sending that back up court, but she's going to get the penalty. Another one against Lynch.
Session.
Howie. Another loose ball. Sutter cleans up.
Perhaps there's 14 reds out there. Just seems like they've got ample numbers.
9 penalties against Janine Lynch. Delaney pops in 20th.
And South Australia not far off doubling Victoria's score. You would never in your wildest dreams have imagined that this final between two brilliant sides, just one the difference in the rounds, would come to this margin.
Advantage contact.
All A's.
South Australia.
Cobb, Delaney, and Sanders. And Howie had her arm wrapped around her. Can't do that, especially under the watchful eyes of Maureen Boyle and Nola Calnan. Well, the defenders for Victoria giving away a lot of penalties.
Play.
8 out of the 32. And Lynch about as many. McInnes crossed to Taverner. Oh, through the soft hands of Southby on that occasion, but she did well.
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. Both using the same space at the top of the circle. It's off the foot and into South Australian hands.
They're right off their game, Victoria. Lost their timing.
Play.
Playing like strangers.
Centre.
This is very much the core of the team that won the title last year.
Advantage obstruction.
Only with Michelle Bennison in there.
Steve, you were speaking earlier of penalties. 10 against Susan Howie for Victoria. So their centre, playing at wing attack for the first half, has attracted more whistle than the circle defenders.
Southby.
And this was only Victoria's second of the quarter.
Meanwhile, 9 have been added by South Australia. That's a hammering.
Advantage obstruction. Goal attack.
Just so surprising. I mean, we're a little bit stunned sitting here because there was 1 goal the difference after extra time when they met earlier.
Contact. Goal
And was it
attack.
1 goal last year when the teams met? 1 or 2? I can't
2
remember.
goals in the final, 49-47 and 95.
Squire falls over the back of O'Donnell.
Victoria
How's
just
the cheek?
standing. O'Donnell just says, no, not today.
Call time, please.
Delaney.
Okay, I don't have to call it then.
What happened to Delaney? It's... Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that's for. Delaney heading to the bench. Did you see what happened there?
No, she grabbed the chin. I suspect maybe collided with someone and her shoulders taken her chin. I noticed Maureen Boyle was saying
Concentrating.
she didn't need to call anything, so there must have been a query from a player.
Certainly that moment before when Squire chased down that loose ball and O'Donnell was just looking dejected, shoulders down. Summed up Victoria's day. Delaney, they don't want her to go out of the game, but Avellino was quickly out of the chair and running up and down in case she's called upon.
Well, you have to do that straight away as a precautionary measure while you assess the extent of the injury, so only sensible coaching with that move. Delaney, I'm sure, doesn't want to leave. By the same token, she's feeling her jaw.
There is Nat Avellino. Had a quarter against New South Wales and played well. With her team in this situation, she's a confidence player. She'd come out and just as likely shoot the lights out. Also
off the other bench, Bryant and Kennedy up 2 for Victoria warming up. We've seen that a few times, but hard to know whether that's actually been called. Danny Arnott still just with 5 shots on the board, only 5 attempts as we're more than halfway through the 3rd quarter.
Well, Jackie Delaney's okay to continue, but she's
no,
still
over there.
flexing the jaw. Harvey to Delaney. All A's. Delaney is a pressure shot for her after the injury, but she rattles it through anyway. Still feeling the jaw. And see how this happened. Now, let's look for Delaney. Oh, she's run straight into an opponent. Was it?
It's Simone McInnes. I actually saw McInnes fall, but I saw the end of the fall and couldn't work out why she was down. And now we know. Delaney's run straight through her and taken shoulder in the process.
Play. Contact wing defender.
Contact outside the circle against Squire. 21 the difference. South Australia looking to make up for the years of drought. Last one at 1983. Ooh, Taverner arriving late, but fortunately missing.
Victoria.
Howie to Arnott. Bryant surely is going to come on at three-quarter time. She's busy warming up out there. What do we got? 4:45 left in the quarter. Bit of help from Sutter and another turnover. Delaney helping out. O'Donnell goes up, but Squire's ball. More penalties against Victoria. And Delaney shooting from way out. Thank you. Cobb. Desperate work from Lynch. More of that needed from Victoria's point of view.
Yes. Play.
Borlase.
Borlase brings up her 25th shot of the match.
Howie tries to get Victoria going forward again.
Let's have another look at the shooting. Borlase with 25 from 28 at 89%. 22 from 30 for Delaney. And 5 from 5 for Danny Arnott, Victoria's goal attack, which is great accuracy, but just not enough. She really needs to be giving her more ball.
They're only putting up about half the shots. It was 30 to about 58, 59 there. It's not enough. Taverner. Well, Delaney was going to be free there, but they just couldn't get the ball to her.
Halfway, yep. Play.
Good 1-2 work between Delaney and Cobb, and rebound strongly from Lynch. Arnott, O'Donnell, Howie. This looks better from Victoria as the dodge is put on by Southby. Having trouble getting rid of Sutter, though. Southby under pressure. Sutter is kept in with a bit of help. Oh, there are South Australian players everywhere wanting the ball. Victoria hasn't played with that kind of determination, and that's why South are up by the 22.
I think they're in party mode in Adelaide by now. That was just such a flamboyant passage of play from South Australia. They've waited so long for this, and to be relishing it as they are.
Play.
I have to wonder if Sanders can't perhaps force her way into some honours. Very solid effort through the middle.
South Australia might, in retrospect, like to spread some of this margin over recent finals and won a few more. It's only lost by a couple last year. Lynch, Taverner. Under 2 minutes left in the third quarter. A touch from Sanders, trying not to go offside, but she does. Southby. It's pretty hard to assess your established players when playing a match like this and they're well beaten, their heads are down. I mean, I know they should be playing as well as they can, but you know, how much do selectors have to write off the performance as a one-off bad one?
It's really hard to tell that as well, but also just how could it happen? Both were well prepared. Both have been playing, you know, well throughout the championships. There looked to be a lot of spirit as they went through the warm-up and stepped out, and all of a sudden it just falls apart on one, not the other. I mean, in every quarter, South Australia have been comprehensive winners. There's been no area of the game allowed for Victoria to flourish.
Harvey, with typical desperation, sends it on, but it's Victorian possession.
Even that ball placed behind McInnes.
Squire. It'll go back to Victoria and their captain McInnes. Howie. Oh. Comedy of errors there. They were waiting, I think, for a whistle to their advantage, but it's possession South Australia. Sutter up the line for Harvey. Delaney. Sanders. Borlase. Just playing it around, perhaps making sure they get the last goal of the quarter. Well, the timekeeper's not up yet. Thank you. Arnott, O'Donnell. Now the timekeeper's up. They need a shot up. Southby.
And neither of the South Australian defenders prepared to give away a penalty even then.
And That last goal means they reduced the margin to 20, but it was by 7 at quarter time, 13 at half time, and now 20. Well, no, Victoria unable to do anything about this impressive performance from South Australia. 48-28 at three-quarter time. Well, a very complete performance from South Australia. Lisa Alexander, the Victorian coach, will be scratching her head. Surely Bryant's going to come on. We can only guess so, but got any other answers for her, Anne?
Oh, not many, no. They're playing for pride now. They just want to try and make a dent in the margin. Kennedy, I tried to point out, was warming up equally with Bryant, so I think Kennedy will be coming on it too. Southby looks like she's moving out to goal attack, which will be a steadying influence. Bryant hopefully will find some space around side of the... I don't like her chances. They're well established in this game. Kennedy could come on anywhere from the centre backwards, or even forward, even to wing attack too. But
It's Delaney getting some ice to the jaw. She's been playing as cold as ice, and Lisa Wilson has much to admire about this South Australian effort. They're all smiles.
Oh, they certainly should be. They deserve the effort that they've put in so far, and they deserve the score that's up on the scoreboard. I don't know about as cold as ice. I reckon Delaney's pretty hot out there. She's turning everything into just magic out there.
Oh, cool as ice. How about that? Is that better? What, from Victoria's point of view, what's gone wrong for them?
Well, I don't know that they've got the desperation that the South Australians want. I mean, we've talked about it a lot, about how long it's been since South Australia won a championship. But I guess, you know, they've just been out there and just everything they've done has gone for them. They've had a bit of luck fall their way, but they've chased absolutely everything. The Victorians have sort of expected a few things to come to them.
Lisa, are you surprised to hear that down the other end of the court, Peter Kennedy is coming on at wing attack?
At wing attack. I am extremely surprised to hear that Peter Kennedy's coming on at wing attack. I wouldn't even know if she played there. Known her as a defender, and I thought they might have gone for a bit of a change up the back end just to see if they could unsettle the South Australians.
Well, we'll see what difference Peter Kennedy, Jocelyn Bryant can make. Bryant will come on at goal shooter, and Southby moves forward to goal attack.
Steve, it's a hard way to play out 15 minutes knowing that the winner's established, the tempo, the whole feel of the game is already established, and just chiseling away for a few goals. But as we said, it's for pride now. Victoria wanting to bring that back to a more civilised margin.
Susie Howie, so impressive in the semi-final win over Queensland, but benched at three-quarter time in the final. No changes to South Australia by the looks. Why would they? They're up by 20, 15 minutes away from their first title since 1983. Sanders. And they would be quite happy to really hammer them, I think.
And they're starting that way as Borlase puts another one on the board, takes her to 26 from 30, 86% for Borlase, 71 for Delaney, 100% against Arnott with 6 from 6. Eloise Southby in good form with accuracy. It's just as we've said over and over again, just not enough ball.
Pass or shot. Yes, there.
Ms. Bryant score her first goal of the match.
South Australia.
At least Victoria quicker to score in this final quarter than in the third.
Cobb feeds Delaney. Well, that fell short because there was contact on the arm. I don't normally see Delaney miss without at least hitting the ring. Kennedy feeds Bryant on to Southby.
Oh, beautiful play, Southby to Bryant. And that'll give them a little bit of a lift. Long overdue, mind you.
Wing attack.
Let's have a look here. The turn Southby onto Bryant, who puts a great drive to the post.
50-30 the score. Just 90 seconds played in the last quarter.
Play.
Squire to Harvey. Harvey down to Borlase. A desperate Lynch doesn't quite get there. Only a touch. And South Australian possession. Cobb. Turned her back on the obvious option, which was Sanders heading across the circle. Now Delaney. It all works out okay, though, for South Australia.
Vantage hold, wing defence.
Southby.
Vantage contact, goal attack and offside. Vantage obstruction. Pass or shot.
And the difference stays at 20.
South Australia.
Interesting to see that Delaney come through to this level without having taken part in the AIS program.
Yes, well, of course, there are State Institute programs as well nowadays, well established and doing a great job for junior players, as does the Australian Institute of Sport. But a lot of variety.
Yeah, it may not be an AIS program next year. It's a real hot point at the moment in netball, with the AIS not taking part in the new National League next year.
We expect that decision to be made this week, but Pam Smith seemed very confident. I spoke to her this afternoon. She felt like the vibes were good about the continuing of that program, so let's hope she's right. It's seen by most as a vital part of the development of Australian netball, as are state programs.
Delaney. It seems pretty widely thought that the AIS program is, at least in some good part, responsible for Australia's great position in world netball at the moment. If the program fell over, it'd be a shame in the eyes of many.
I think South Australia are unperturbed by Victoria's changes.
Taverner making a determined bid for that ball, but it comes back to Squire. Into the corner, too tall for Delaney.
Julie Franco yelling, come on, concentrate. She doesn't want to concede anything. Just under 11 minutes remaining.
Well, she wants this to be an impressive victory. And 20 goals plus will certainly be that. O'Donnell.
On the arm. Pass or shot.
Bryant. After the penalty against Harvey. Penalties 40 against Victoria, 28 South Australia. Not quite as hurtful as they were early in the match. The ratio was heavily against the Vics. The ratio more like 4-3.
Steve, it's interesting. Jocelyn Bryant has only come on for this final quarter, and already she's had 4 shots at goal, nearly equal to Danny Arnott's tally for 3 quarters in the match.
It's not easy to directly attribute that to one thing, though, is it? I mean,
no, obviously she's come on at shooter with Southby moving forward to goal attack, but it is about making yourself available.
Ball A's off to Cobb. Cobb left the match yesterday, the semi-final, at 3/4 time, and looked a little tender on her troublesome feet, but she's going to play this one out. Paying well to the back of the mind when you're up by 19 goals against the defending champions in the title decider.
Goal defence obstruction. Pass or shot. South Australia.
Victoria just taking a couple out of the lead. Turnovers still heavily favouring South Australia. 7 to the good of Victoria.
Bonnie's offside.
Delaney. And a comfortable rebound for Lynch. That's the hands of the shooters starting to go a little cold for South Australia.
Bonnie's obstruction, goal attack.
Southby. O'Donnell. Fakes to the ground, goes to the air. Bryant says thank you.
Jocelyn Bryant takes her goals to 5 for no misses. Southby with 24 for 5 misses, so she's hunting around for a 25th of the match.
Wing defence, hold.
Strong take from Bryant. 8-4. Victoria leading this last quarter. They're turning it around, but much too late, and they've let it get away from them early in the match. Kennedy picks it up. McInnes. Southby to O'Donnell. Goes to the floor, and Harvey's first to it. Cobb. Delaney and Cobb working delightfully together. Ball A's. Exciting build-up. Steady shot. Thank you. Well, you go into the last quarter trailing by 20. You might, with a superb effort, manage to score 20 yourself, but it's not easy to keep the other side scoreless. Southby.
South Australia.
7 minutes left in the match.
Break wing.
53-37. South Australia at last on the right side of the scoreboard in the Open final. Victoria looking to make it a double today. It's not going to happen. Won the under-21s earlier this afternoon. That falls to O'Donnell. McInnes.
Advantage offside.
Well, Kennedy mightn't have played a lot at wing attack, but that was a fairly shrewd delivery, Anne.
Yes, it was. I think Kennedy's made an impact since she's come on at the game. Not exactly the finesse in the feed, but certainly a directness and a power out there that they were lacking earlier. And I guess the answer to Catherine Harvey just saying to South, come on, that they sense that it's starting to dwindle a little. I mean, it's not in danger, but they just want to finish with the upper hand. Credit to Victoria, a bit of fight left in the camp.
Shot on now for Ball A's after the penalty against Lynch.
The 10th penalty against Lynch in the match.
Delaney to Cobb. Ball A's time to move nicely. Delaney strongly under it. Kennedy, Southby, Bryant. It's all a bit congested there for a moment, but that's better work.
Keeper. In front. Yep.
Southby really has quick hands when she wants the decisive offload, Anne.
Yeah, she doesn't have the speed that most goal attacks normally offer, but she does have the ability to time things well and to see the space as well. I think she's setting up Bryant nicely. Lisa Alexander perhaps regretting that she didn't pull the change earlier. Jenny Ball A's nets her 30th for the match.
6 misses only. Went a long time with only the 1 miss. Taverner picks up McInnes on this side, and that'll be a turnover. Under 5 minutes left now.
Play.
South Australian team can almost taste the champagne. Sanders.
Contact, goal defender. Goal defender.
Well, just before the match, when the players were warming up, I walked past Kath Harvey and asked the polite question, so, are you going to smash them? She just looked at me without a grin and said yes.
She spoke the truth.
Ball A's. Too easy. And they're getting back up towards 20 again after a little run from Victoria. South Australia responding to the call from the coach to finish it in style. Harvey finds a way over 2 defenders. And a contact against Lynch. They've had a most unhappy day in all thirds, really. Victoria, Lynch and Taverner have ended up giving away a lot of penalties, and they've been undone, really, by Delaney and Ball A's. Sutter and Harvey have had a great match, and so too the mid-court. Squire, Sanders and Cobb.
South
champion effort from this 7. They haven't had to go to their bench at all.
Yep, right there. Yep. Play.
The lead's 19. They'll be looking to get it back out to 20 again, and perhaps deny Victoria even the small consolation of winning a quarter. Who's your best player, Anne?
Oh, gee, give me a tough one to finish the day's work. Oh, hard to pick. I thought both Sutter and Harvey opened in brilliant fashion and really created some opportunities. I can't go past Delaney. Maybe that's unfair to the more senior players. I just think for a young player, she just took it with both hands and really made it work for them. I think I have to give her credit for being the player that's made a difference to the South Australian line, looking at their performance over the last few years. And just looking at her stats, only 2 penalties against her, no intercepts or turnovers, 3 rebounds, 27 goals, 10 misses. So Borlay's the more accurate of the two, but gosh, I think she's been well balanced by Delaney.
So under 2 minutes left. I'm sure both teams would like it to go quickly. South Australia want to start the celebrations. Victoria want the agony to finish. Oh, ambitious ball. And South Australia are going to get possession right down on the baseline. Harvey walks away smiling off camera. Ball A's. Not her best shot, but she'll take it. Sanders. Delaney. Well, here's one for everyone back in South Australia that's waited so long for it to happen.
Delay ball attack. Pass.
Since 1983, New South Wales and Victoria have won all the titles until today. New South Wales, most of them. 10 of the 12. But it's South Australia's turn today, and they've really won it in style. Last minute now, and 21 the lead for South Australia.
Play.
Bryant chases it. Finds O'Donnell well. And she wants it quickly to Southby. Lead back to 20. Ball A's. Can't quite keep it in. The timekeeper gets up. The difference will be 20. Unless Victoria can get it down there very quickly, they can't. And there it is. It's a very happy South Australian bench. They stand to acclaim the champion 7 out there. Julie Franco receiving the congratulations of assistant coaches and managers. Well, a match played in fine spirit, but dominated from start to finish by South Australia.
Throughout the whole series, the final score, South Australia 61 to 41.
61-41. It was 18-11 at quarter time, 34-21 at half-time. They built a 7-goal lead to 13 at half-time. They built it to 20 at three-quarter time, 48-28, and they held on to that 20-goal margin, so they haven't let Victoria win a quarter. They drew the last one. What a performance by South Australia. And Victoria hurt by an early heavy penalty count. 47 against Victoria, 33 against South Australia. And the ratio was a little heavier than that early in the match. Intercepts, well, South Australia had their hands up for everything. They took 9-3. Got some more turnovers as well, 23-14, so they enjoyed a wealth of possession. And the result of that was that they put up 78 attempts to 47 of Victoria, and they ended up winning it handsomely, 61-41. So South Australia, the Open champions for 1996. Just a stirring performance from all players. Jackie Delaney, as Anne said, a wonderful match. All the other 6 as well. Just a wonderful team effort. And Anne Sargent is with a very happy Jenny Bourlays.
Thanks, Steve. Well, with me is South Australia's captain, Jenny Borlase. It's a long while between drinks. Not since '83 has South Australia won the title, and it must have felt tremendous.
Oh, it was, especially that last quarter. We didn't have quite as much pressure on as we thought we would coming into the last quarter, so we're really able to enjoy it. It's a great team effort, and I'm just so proud of all the girls and the support staff. It was just fantastic.
Looked like a happy camp. You looked at the start of the match like you really felt good about playing the match. I don't know that we can say we've always seen that from the team. More an edge and you know, a need to win.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's because we just had a little bit more confidence in ourselves this year after being so close last year. That confidence was with us this year, and we were confident, and we just knew that we had the goods to do it this time. Victoria played a great game, and we do respect them heaps, but you know, we just came out on top today, so it was fantastic.
It was a strong all-round performance, but particularly your defence line. They came out firing and really gave you the front foot advantage early on. Yes,
Harvey and Sutter and also Pete Squires fitted into the wing defence position really well, and they gave us plenty of opportunities. They just kept getting the turnovers, and Jackie Delaney, Audine Cobb, Sanders just brought the ball down beautifully, and we were able to finish off really well, so it was a great team effort.
I'm glad you touch on Delaney and Cobb, because they really were the freshness. They were the difference about your side from last year, and they really have risen to the occasion on open court, haven't they?
They have. They're very spirited players, very quick, and they did give us that little bit extra drive through the mid-court, and they did a fantastic job, and I think Sanders also helped in that area as well. So in all, it's just a great combination down there, and it worked for us this time.
How was the feeling when you went to the first break and you knew you had the beginnings of a great lead? I mean, you must have been surprised to see Victoria fold.
Yeah, it's almost scary to be up by that much, because you always expect them to come back, and we certainly expected that they would, but credit to our girls, we knew we had to push on, and it wasn't really, like I said, until the last quarter that we felt that we really were going to win the game. It was just fantastic.
Well, your only problem now is that you're the ones to beat. Congratulations, the 1996 national title. Very happy, Jenny Borlase. Well done.
Thank you, Anne.
Well, Steve, I don't need to say anything. They're all smiles, they're tears, the work. So well-deserved win to South Australia. Back to you.
Thanks, Anne. Yes, they deserve the plaudits. They've had to wait a long time, and congratulations to them. 61-41 the result. Well, a great day here in Perth, but some great sport coming up on the ABC in coming weeks and months. Here's a taste of what's ahead.
Yes, next weekend kicks off a big summer of sport here on ABC television, ranging from tennis to golf, cycling to show jumping, gymnastics to triathlon. Here's a taste of what to expect over the next 2 months. Next week, Australia's leading junior tennis players take to the court for the Little Masters Challenge. From Port Stephens in New South Wales, ABC Sport will cover the finals action live next Saturday afternoon. From tennis to the fairways, and our summer of golf gets underway next Saturday with coverage of the Queensland Open from Windaroo.
Oh, looking good.
Continuing with the Tournament Players Championship on October 26th at the Robina Woods Golf Club on the Gold Coast.
What a beautiful putt.
Stay tuned also in November for the Australian Women's Open, featuring our own Kari Webb, plus the Australian Ladies Masters from the Royal Pines Course in Queensland. Next weekend sees the start of the Commonwealth Bank Cycle Classic, and ABC will be there for daily coverage of Australia's premier road cycling event. This year, 14 teams will contest the 1,100-kilometre trek from Sydney's Manly to the nation's capital, Canberra.
Oh, this is a mighty performance.
October also sees international gymnastics come to Adelaide for the 1996 Australia Cup. Big names from here and overseas will compete in both individual and teams competition. Coverage on ABC the 19th and 26th of this month. Show jumping makes a return to ABC Sport with the Champions Challenge from Concord Oval in Sydney. Australia's leading riders guaranteeing plenty of action and excitement. Coverage on the 16th and 17th of November. It's Trans-Tasman rivalry at its best when Australia takes on New Zealand in a one-off netball test in Sydney. Our coverage November 16th. Triathlon's your go, ABC will have action from this summer's Grand Prix series to be held in Western Australia, Victoria, the ACT, Tasmania and Queensland. And the new year wouldn't be the same without the Hopman Cup, a unique tennis format with many of the world's leading male and female players teaming up to represent their country. All the action here on ABC from December 29.
Some great events coming up on ABC Sport, and we hope that you can be with us for some of them. And we've got a moment or two to reflect on what's been an interesting week. Standout performances from you in the under-21s?
Oh gosh, it's a tough one. Victoria, whilst they looked like they were behind the 8 ball for most of the match, really came through with the goods. I thought Kirsten Wheeler was ever steady for them in goals, their captain. And also, I thought there was some tenacious stuff from New South Wales as well, some talent in their back line, particularly early on in the match. And just a few players that have stepped on 21 court for the first time. You know, Carly Harridge, superb stats for New South Wales and not seen at all to our television audience or at this level. So there's just a few there that are really starting to show their faces through. Also, McMahon for Victoria was a really strong player in goals, just a delightful mover. So lots for the national selectors to keep their eyes on and to blood through.
And that open final really did go against all predictions. We thought it might be another one-goal game or thereabouts, but there was nothing like it.
No, I was preparing people for extra time. I think it really had the potential to go that way, and it just shows you one of the fascinations of sport, that as well prepared as you can be, and despite your credentials, there are some days and some games where it just blows apart against you, and you just can't fathom it. And I'm sure Victoria are left wondering why that was today and why not another day earlier in the week.
We have a test match against New Zealand on November 16. Should selectors be worried about what's happened here?
No, I think it's amazing when you start to swing players across the state boundaries. You start to get other combinations that have a spark and that build. And whilst, you know, the Nicole Cusacks and others may have been quiet this week, I think when you change the combination, you sit them with a Wilson, you start to see different things from them. I think it's exciting because there's young ones forcing the issue. But in terms of the established players, I think a bit of time we'll see the same spark from them.
Okay, Anne, we'll look forward to your company again shortly. We'll be working that test match, of course, on November 16. One to look forward to. Always is Australia against New Zealand. But that wraps it up from the Perth Superdome in Western Australia. We've enjoyed your company. Thanks for being with us. Goodbye for now.